Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, and welcome. Hopefully you can all see and hear me okay. You may notice I'm in a slightly... There we go, we're all good there. I'm in a slightly different place. I'm actually at home isolated because I have caught the dreaded COVID, which for me has actually been the best time to catch it. It's not interfered with my Christmas plans. It's not interfered with any kind of New Year's plans. So this week was good for me. So it's like the universe aligned things and went, this is the week we're going to give it to Grant. And I'll be honest, I've not felt too bad at all. Apart from today, I felt a bit queasy and sickly, but it's been okay. So if I do have to rush off, you may hear some weird sick noises, but if you watch any of the Grant versus Al challenges, that won't be unusual for you. This afternoon's or this morning's guest, it's very early in the morning for him, is Jaden Boon. He's a hypnotherapist, stage hypnotist in that there sunny Australia. So please show him lots of love. I have lots of questions lined up for him. And we'll find out what things and life is like for him over there. So he's going to appear, I think it's going to be that side, I think. There he is.
Here I am.
Yeah, there you go. How are you?
Awesome, mate. I'm doing really well, buddy. Thank you for asking. And how are you?
I'm okay. I'm surviving the Rona. There we go. Also, Richard Deeley. Oh, my mouse is going crazy here because I'm having to use it on my shots there. Richard Deeley says, good evening, good air. It's from South Yorkshire. It could mean anything. So Australia, tell us what it's like performing over there. I mean, I always find it weird when you can perform in a place where the spiders and the snakes can kill you. That's what I mean. So you kind of got to make sure your tape's down, make sure your chairs are in a nice line, and make sure nothing can kill you. So what's it like? What do you think are the differences when you see some of the American guys working, some of us Europeans, to how things are in Australia?
Look, I don't think it's really a lot different, generally speaking, to be honest. But I think it is, in some of those other countries, it is a lot more accepted. It's more well known. But in Australia, it is quite accepting. People understand it. There's always two sides to the coin. People will either love it and they're intrigued by it and they want to know everything about it, and then you get the others that go, "Don't look at me."
Yeah. Adam says in Yorkshire it's the women that can kill you. So that's And Richard Cole says good to see us. So what type of venues are you working at, or what are the mainstay of venues over in Australia?
Okay, yeah. So to be honest, I've only done the five shows, and that's only due to COVID. So my career literally started as COVID came. So I went and did my stage hypnosis course, and then I was 6 weeks out from leaving that course, and I was going on stage to perform my first show. And That's when COVID came and literally shut down every venue here in Australia. Literally every workplace literally went into a complete lockdown.
Yeah.
So that set me back 12 months because of you couldn't have a certain amount of people in venues. People had to be wearing masks. And then also we were only allowed a certain amount of people per square meterage. Yeah. So if we wanted to book a show, we could only have 10, 15 people there.
Wow.
So it did make things very hard. But the shows that I've done, they've been in RSLs and pubs.
Nice. So Midge Jackson says hello. It's interesting to see the way different countries have dealt with COVID and especially hospitality. And it's a weird thing because on one level, we want to shut everything down so nobody catches anything. But then on another level, people have got to kind of catch it in order to build their immunity to it. And so it's just, it's craziness. Here in England, they made the rules so vague and so open to interpretation that people are trying to do all sorts of different things to try and circumvent it, and it causes nothing but confusion, really.
Exactly.
So Ellanna Jennings says, I don't even know if this is racist or not, but Ellanna Jennings says, can you please say you'll put a shrimp on the Barbie?
What, in Aussie?
Oh, yeah.
Can you please put a shrimp on the barbecue?
That's going on the highlights reel. So tell us about what you were doing before. what first got your interest in hypnosis or stage hypnosis? Like you said earlier, I know Australia, there weren't loads of hypnotists out there performing for quite a long time. So what piqued your interest with it?
Yeah, what piqued my interest with it was I went and saw a show for the first time maybe 15 years ago, maybe 13 years ago, roughly around then. And I walked out of that show and I was a skeptic.
Yeah.
I didn't believe it. I was like, no way. I'm like, there's no way someone can stand up there, say sleep, and all those people are just going to do that. And yeah, and someone got me here, and I thought it was a very valid point. Someone said to me, "Why would you buy tickets and go and see a show that you thought was fake?" And I was like, "Oh, that's a good call."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, well, you got me there." And then again, I went and saw another show, and then same thing. I still didn't believe it. I was still a skeptic. And then I went and saw a third show, and I actually got invited to that show. And my partner at the time, she volunteered to go up on stage. And when you have someone that you in a relationship with, that you know, they're a friend, they're your partner, whatever, and you know that under normal circumstances they wouldn't go up there and do those silly things, even though we know that they would, just under different circumstances. And yeah, it was at that show I walked out and I looked at her and I said, I'm going to learn this one day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I did absolutely nothing probably for 12 years.
Wow.
And before I became a hypnotist, I actually worked at a tire shop. So I was like a mechanic. So I did car tires, truck tires, bus tires, puncture repairs, and I was in that industry for 13 years. And I hated it. I hated it. I was miserable. I was unhappy. It was a negative environment. It wasn't fun. It was backbreaking. And it got to a point where, I woke up one day like most people and I said, you know what, my life has to change. Things have got to be different. Things have got to be different. And at that point in my life, I was very depressed. I was going through a lot of things in my life. I went through a breakup. My best mate passed away. And, I was very depressed, very anxious, and I was a smoker. And, it got to a point where I was just using cigarettes to cope with everything. I wasn't sleeping. I was just smoking for food, and it was my source of survival, I guess, even though it was killing me at the same time. And, it got to a point where I was waking up every day physically sick from the amount of nicotine and poison I was putting into my body. So I did what most people did. I sought help.
Yeah.
I was on Facebook one day at work, just scrolling social media, and I saw a post to use hypnosis to stop smoking. And like most people, I said, I'll give it a try. I'll give it a go, and see what happens. What have I got to lose? At that point, I had already felt like I had lost enough, and I was like, I can't really lose anymore, so I might as well try it. And yeah, I honestly walked out of there a non-smoker. That was a choice and a decision that I made, that now was the time. And moving forward, I wanted my life to be different, and that was the first stepping stone. So yeah, from there, after it stopped me smoking, a few months later, the same gentleman actually offered a self-hypnosis course for free for 10 hours. And I thought, hey, why not? Let's go and learn about the mind and what it's capable of. If it can help me stop smoking, what else can it help me do? And then from there, that's it. I became absolutely obsessed. I immersed myself in hypnosis 7 days a week. I just became fascinated by it, and the power of the mind, and how most of us create our own problems, and how we can get out of those using the powers of our own intelligence.
Yeah. And it's amazing what you said then about once that seal is broken, and you learn a bit more, and then you learn a bit more, and then the more you learn, the more you want to learn. And then it is very much like it's an itch that needs scratching. And it's fantastic. Obviously I'm a big advocate of it. You're a big advocate of it. In Australia, what's the perception for people like when it comes to hypnotherapist and hypnosis for the entertainment side of things? I know in some countries there's here in the UK, a lot of hypnotherapists look down upon the stage hypnosis because they think it belittles the therapy side of things. In the US, it's pretty more fluid. How are things in Australia?
I think it used to be a lot more that hypnotherapists did look down on it. But I think they're beginning to understand more the importance of it because, in my belief, in my model of the world, I believe that, the stage boosts the therapy. It gives it credibility and people can see it for what it is. You're taking people out of the audience and they're seeing the whole process from start to finish. Yeah. And when you do that to their family and friends, there is no denying it.
No, it's a great performing hypnosis on stage, doing it well, is a great advert for hypnosis. I mean, that's effectively what it is. It's an hour-long advert with some fun bits and some profound bits of showing people the powers of hypnosis and done in an entertaining way. So yeah, I always find it weird at shows when you get people that come up to you afterwards and go, "I have a friend who's like a proper clinical hypnotist," and I'm like, "What's the difference?" So it's interesting that the worlds between the two are starting to merge a bit more now. So what was your planning and your prep like for your first stage show?
Yeah, it was pretty intense, to be honest. But I guess my saving grace was COVID. So basically, after I finished my course and my trainer said to me, get out on stage, don't keep putting it off. He's like, just book a show and go and do it. Don't allow yourself to, let that fear sink in or is it going to work? Can I do it? I rushed out to make it happen. And then, as I said, I spent every day practicing in that 6 weeks. But then I guess my saving grace and my blessing was, COVID came, and maybe that wasn't a saving grace or a blessing, but I feel like it was. It gave me, another 12 months to prepare. Yeah. I could see more clients in my clinic. I could hypnotize more people. I spent more time at home in my lounge room getting 4 and 5 people over and doing a hypnosis show where in that 6 weeks, the lead up to that show, I wasn't able to do that because it was, organize sound equipment, do this, organize poster, promotion, and get yourself out there and sell out the show.
Yeah.
But because I had that 12 months, I was able to build more of a name for myself. And all the people that bought tickets in that 6 weeks to the show, because I then refunded everyone, were so keen and to see how far I'd come in that 12 months.
Yeah.
That my first show sold out within 3 weeks. It sold out. Like, for me, I feel like that was an amazing achievement. Self promotion just all through Facebook, and it was an amazing show. It turned out really well, and I'm really happy with the way the show went. But in answer to your question. Yeah, it just gave me more time to prepare and to, I guess, perfect my craft.
Yeah, to rehearse, to get your confidence up, to go through the motions. I mean, I see you on TikTok as well now, which is when I first started this stream, I refused to go on TikTok, but I
did for a while
in the comment section and went, you need to go on TikTok, you need to go on TikTok, you need to go on TikTok, and it's such a great source of getting your name out there, and like you said, when you're self-promoting shows, as a lot of us do now, learning to self-promote and get your stuff out there, TikTok is selling tickets for you for when you start up again. So yeah, absolutely. Richard Cole says, I must have missed it. What part of the country is Jaden based out of?
Okay, so I'm in Australia, Queensland, Brisbane.
Nice. Now I know Perth was kind of like a little bubble that was all fine, and they were living their life as if everything was normal for quite some time. What's Brisbane like?
Brisbane at the moment's a bit madness. I mean, things were going really well. We were good here. We had all our borders closed to all the different states, and just before Christmas, they made an executive decision to open the borders and let people in. And as of yesterday, we had 10,000 cases for the day. Wow. So every day it was 3,000, then it was 5,000, now it's 10,000. So every day since the borders have opened, the numbers have just continued to grow. The situation here in Australia is it's not that great. If you're unvaccinated, you're refused entry to a lot of venues and a lot of places. You can't travel. You can't go into a pub, a club. You can't go to theme parks. You can't go to the cinema, bowling alleys. So you're very much segregated, and for those people, it is making life hard unless you cave and you do what's expected.
Yeah, I know here in the UK, there's a big push to promote people getting the vaccine, but we're not at that level now. I do think it's quite interesting and quite topical in the news when you're talking about people not being able to kind of cross borders in Australia without the vaccine. But we've just had, is it Novak Djokovic?
Yeah. The tennis player, that's been all over the news here today as well.
Exactly. Who's not vaccinated, and they kept him at the border, but apparently now they've let him in.
He's in detention. He's in detention until at least Monday, and they're trying to sort it out with his lawyers. But they did. I saw on the news this morning they had like a protest, and all his fans were out the front of the place where he was.
Wow.
But yeah, they're trying to get the exemption and get him in. But what's going to happen, I don't know. Because our Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, said that if he doesn't comply and follow the rules like everyone else, he'll be on the next plane out of the country. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's you can't really separate those rules for, do you know what I mean? Just for, especially, I mean, it's a weird thing, and it does separate people. And the media, I think the media has shown itself for being quite a poisonous thing during this whole pandemic thing, and it is absolutely crazy. So, I mean, I know I kind of, when this first started, I was a big believer it was only going to last a couple of months.
I think everyone was. Yeah.
And then they're like, well, if you get the vaccine, then you can go back to normal. And then had the vaccine so we could go back to normal. And then like, well, you have to have a second one now just to make sure that one's okay. And then the booster. And so it has been slightly frustrating. But yeah, I know in France, they're turning against the unvaccinated, which it's a silly thing. I mean, it is ridiculous at the moment. So,
yeah, I mean,
go on.
So I was just going to say, we're also back to masks full time in all indoor venues. So supermarket, shopping centers, cinemas, everywhere indoors is back to masks. And where you can't social distance is masks. Vaccinated or unvaccinated, everyone still has to wear a mask.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's getting to a point, even our supermarkets are becoming bare. There's a lot of venues that are shutting down again because so many of their workers are sick, unwell, and I believe, I don't know this to be true, but I think this is the case. They're having trouble with getting trucks across the border, which is why our shops are becoming bare. But yeah, there's a lot of photos at the moment of supermarket. They've had to put restrictions in supermarkets to say that you're only allowed 2 of this or 1 of that or 3 of these because, people are trying to, I guess, panic buy and keep themselves afloat.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Like humanity, the moment there's a shortage of something, everybody runs out and goes nuts. Very cleverly here in the UK, they've just announced that there's a shortage or difficulty on the websites to get the self-tests. And I think by doing that, everyone's gone out and then got loads of them now. So it's a clever way of marketing the testing, I believe. So what's the... what kind of stuff have you done? I mean, are you doing hypnosis therapy stuff online now via Zoom and stuff like that?
I'm doing both. So because my office is at home, so I see people from home. My clients that way. I do also see clients online. So yeah, I'm still seeing clients online and in person as well.
Brilliant. It's I think it's one of the things that has... One of the positives that's come from the COVID and the pandemic is it's moved people online so much quicker than what they normally would do. I mean, like especially clients being able to speak to people around the world, such as we're doing now. It's made the world such a smaller place and so much more accessible. And I think it's a great way that you can meet people where they are and do hypnosis. I'm still yet to be convinced on the entertainment for hypnosis via Zoom and online. I know there's some guys doing that. For me, it's like what you said earlier. It's the it's the magic of when it's somebody you know on stage doing something silly. There's something magical about that, and I think Zoom doesn't necessarily work as well doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I know people.
So
I did see that comment.
Chapman's just put, I was able to score 2 of those tests, harder to score than a UK MDMA cheese party. That's a weird post that got put up the other day, that apparently in some parts of the UK, there's housewives that have, I don't even want to say MDMA when I feel sick, MDMA in brie cheese. And I'm like, that's not happening.
Yeah, right. No, I've never heard of that one.
No. But yeah, so it's the technology to get people more connected and more online works for the therapy stuff, but I don't know if it works for the entertainment. I know Rich Guzzi has done a couple of Zoom shows very successfully, and he's a great comedian as well, so that kind of delivers that. So I believe Rich was over in Australia just before the pandemic.
Correct. Yeah. So that was just when COVID started. Because I met him. That was an event called HypnoBiz Australia, and I met Rich Guzzi there. And also, I'm not sure if you know her, Selena. Oh no, I can't remember her last name. I believe she's from the States, and she was the co-host of the event.
Yeah.
And she was only at the event for 1 day, and they said if you don't get on the next plane home, you won't be flying back to America. So she upped and left the event that she organised here in Australia, which was, quite sad. Yeah, but yeah.
And it's a great event actually, the HypnoBiz. I was at the New York one a couple of years ago. So yeah, it's interesting. So I mean, are you going to be making or trying to make it over to the Hypno Thoughts or any of the big conferences in the US?
I have been asked about that. I know a few others have. I would love to, but I think things are still way too unpredictable to make that sort of commitment.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? Because I believe it's July, isn't it? What's going to happen come July? I think, it's just trying to get refunds on flights and organize accommodation. I think at the moment it's too uncertain. And I don't think that's, something I want to commit to right now, but it's definitely something in the future that I would absolutely love to do for sure.
I mean, all these conferences are great networking opportunities to meet other people in the industry as well. Interesting you talk then about refunds for flights. It's like with self-promoting shows, I've found that because of COVID, people's lead time for tickets now is a lot less than what it was. Whereas in the past, they would buy tickets well in advance for a show. Now they're leaving it till like last minute or before this kind of look. They're leaving it till last minute, just in case the show gets cancelled or just in case it gets moved. So it's changing the way that people purchase tickets and consume entertainment as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely, because my last show was like that. I was getting to a point where I was like, oh, what am I going to do here? Yeah. And then, I left it. And I was like, I'll make it work regardless. And then the Saturday of the show, I think I sold 25 or 30 tickets. And I just went, So I definitely agree with what you're saying there.
Yeah. People are so used to that stuff being cancelled at the last minute. And I've always been a big believer in it's better to do a show to not many people than to cancel a show. Just because it's, the people that have turned up, they've paid their money, they've put aside, they've got their babysitters, they've decided to commit to you for the night. So you've got to do the best that you can. So tell me about your heroes in hypnosis. Who do you kind of aspire to be like? Who do you want to, are you going to be the next Mark Savard, Rich Guzzi? What's your style? Where do you want to take it?
Oh man, I want to take it everywhere. A lot of people ask me this question. They're like, "Where do you want to be in 5 years?" I'm like, "Well, is this COVID or not COVID? Because if COVID wasn't there, things would be very different." Yeah. But who do I look up to? I mean, honestly, I look up to everyone in the industry. I love Rich Guzzi. I love Mark Savard, the Jacquins. I consume every person's content. Yeah. I look up to everyone. Anyone that can put themselves out there and that can get up on stage and do a show and pull off a show, you know, that it takes a certain person to be able to do that, I think. And, you know, I used to have a massive fear of public speaking. You know, you used to get up at school and they'd go, oh, you got to present your poster or your presentation to the class, and I'd have the day off school. But I was always the clown that wanted to have fun and entertain people, but I never imagined myself being on stage. But where I want to take it, I want to take it as far as I can. You know, I just want to keep doing shows. I want to keep inspiring people and entertaining. I love it. You know, just like yourself and every other stage hypnotist out there. It's so much fun. And
getting on a stage, getting on a platform, and talking about hypnosis in a positive way, it just does the whole industry the world of good.
Yeah, exactly. You know, as someone I really, really look up to, I guess, you know, doing his training, I know his name's been mentioned on here quite a few times, but Justin Trans, you know, I think he's amazing at what he does. When he came here to Australia, I did his training course, and, you know, I think you know, in my personal opinion, I think he's an amazing guy. He's been very helpful, and, you know, I really, really enjoyed his training.
Yeah, absolutely. A fantastic guy. Very controversial within the industry, but that's because he shakes things up a little bit. But I think it doesn't matter who you train with at some point. I remember years ago, there was a discussion I was having with Justin, and I was like, oh, I couldn't make a particular training he was doing. And he's gone, don't worry about it. You know, at some point in the future, we will train together. It's inevitable. And I think you've got to train with as many people as you can, and you've got to train with Justin at some point in your career anyway. You just have to. He's a great guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And sorry, I was just going to say, you said it perfectly. Train with everyone and anyone, and that's why, you know, I consume as much content as I humanly can. You know, like I said to you when we were chatting backwards and forwards, I watch your channel religiously. You know, I watch all the videos of everyone, because, you know, you say it all the time, that golden nugget that you know, someone always has it. It doesn't matter if it's one thing here or one thing there, or someone recommends a book and then you go and read the book, and you know, you learn the information from the book. It's helpful in every way.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing with the internet now, and the hypnosis community is a lot more open than what it used to be. You know, when it just used to be a couple of forums on Facebook, it was quite it could be quite competitive, and the egos were quite big. It does seem more accepting and more welcoming now, which is a great thing. Richard Cole says, where will you be performing in 5 years?
Yeah, so I think that was a piss take from your question before.
Oh. Bless him. Richard Cole's fantastic, and he's got that Canadian internet as well, so he is here, which is good. So tell us about, you must have had a challenge, something that's happened on stage speaking, or when doing one of your TikToks, a challenge that you've encountered, and what you've learned from that.
Like just from a stage show, or even just doing any form of content?
Any form of content. 'Cause I mean, again, the TikToks and the YouTubes are the new stages as well now. So yeah, I know that's a new learning curve for a lot of stage performers.
Just with the big egos, no, that's never happened. Sorry, I'm reading the comments as well. A massive challenge. I mean, there's been plenty of challenges along the way, but nothing that really stands out, I guess. You know, in all honesty, and, you know, I'm happy to put this out there in every way I can. You know, I am very new to the industry. You know, so a lot of my stuff has been seeing clients as from the 5 shows that I've done, and those shows have been successful, you know, in every way so far. And I know that there's going to be a certain point or time where something's going to happen. You know, it's just a matter of doing more shows and being out there more. But yeah, I guess, I don't know. I think one thing that I encountered, and I did mention this to another hypnotist the other day, that even someone that I've hypnotized multiple times, so I had hypnotized them for 12 months, you know, practicing my show with them, mucking around, learning new techniques, and just seeing how they respond to the suggestions. And it was funny to watch over time that even delivering the same suggestion to the same person, just about daily for 12 months, how over time they start to change how they respond to the suggestion. You know, I was trying to make a video one day and it just got to the point where the swearing wouldn't stop. You know, every word that came out of her mouth, you know, she was going off. And it was like, okay, well, how come, what's changed in the last 12 months from when we first started, you know, doing the suggestion to now where, you know, it seems like you're a completely different subject.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found that quite interesting. But as for a massive challenge, honestly, other than putting a show together and forcing myself or making myself or getting the courage, the confidence to back myself and do that first show, that was honestly probably my biggest challenge that I've faced so far.
And I think it's so important to, like you just said then, to back yourself and just get out there and do it. We mentioned then about recommending books. If you were to recommend 2 books to people wanting to start to do stage hypnosis or hypnosis in general, what would they be?
I knew this question was coming, and I was like, for the last few days, I was like, what am I going to say? Because my thing is, I honestly, and I know a few other people have said it, I'm not a big fan of reading. I prefer to watch and listen, which is why I absolutely love YouTube. Again, I know it's been mentioned a few times, but the Encyclopedia Stage Hypnosis.
Yeah.
I've read that. As for any, the other one that I would recommend, but it's more therapy based rather than stage based, which is Freddie Jacquin's Hypnotherapy.
Yeah, great book. I've got that on Audible as well, which I listen to in the car sometimes. Yeah,
yeah. There's a lot of great stuff in there, and that Encyclopedia of Stage Hypnosis, the amount of inductions, information. A lot of people say that it's old and it's outdated, but there's still a lot of stuff that you can incorporate. You can change and adapt and make it suit you.
Absolutely. And your golden nugget, if you were to give yourself a tip from the beginning when you were starting to where you are now, a little shortcut, what would it be?
Just believe in yourself. Like if you want to do it, and your goal or your desire and your dream is to do it, then just put yourself out there and do it. That first show, everyone thinks that they will look like an idiot or that something could go wrong or you might stuff it up or it's not going to turn out the way that you wanted it to. And, at the end of the day, that's okay because, at least you're having a go. The people in the audience, majority of those people, haven't chased their dreams or follow their dreams or back themselves or believe in themselves enough to do what it is that they want to do. And, like I tell people all the time, and especially my clients, it's like, you weren't going to get up and do the show for me. My partner wasn't going to get up and do the show for me. My next door neighbor wasn't going to do the show for me. I had to do the show because it's what I wanted. And, like I tell everyone, the other side of fear is everything that you want. And it's so true.
That is so true. You know what I mean? And it's that big barrier of just putting yourself out there that makes a big difference.
Yeah, you just got to believe in yourself and just back yourself. If you want to do it, you can do it. No one's different to anyone else. We can all do it if we want to do it. So
absolutely. So where can people find you? YouTube, TikTok, Instagram? Give your sites a plug.
So I'm on YouTube, which is Hypnotist Jaden Boon. Instagram is Hypnotist Jaden Boon as well. TikTok, it should all be Hypnotist Jaden Boon. But if you just type in Jaden Boon, I'll come up. Fantastic.
Jaden, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. It's still very early in the morning there, isn't it?
It's 8:30, but that's fine. I get up at 5 o'clock every day.
Yeah, I noticed you. I kind of seen you online a few times and thought I couldn't figure out the time thing. And then we spoke the other day, you were like, it's 5 a.m.
I was at the gym that morning when you messaged me.
Wow. Brilliant. Jaden, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Good luck with everything that's going on as well. And hopefully things will sort out over in Brisbane very soon. Take care, buddy.
No worries at all. Thanks for having me, mate.
No worries. Cheers. Bye-bye.